If I click on play and press the key, okay, so now you can see we are not creating any more bullets and we are just reusing the ones we are having. So guys, this way you can use object pooling to reuse the objects which are used repeatedly in the game, which will save lot of your memory and help to boost the performance of your game. Hello guys, so in this video we are going to create an object pooling. So with the help of object pooling we can use same objects multiple times without destroying them and save some memory for our game. So here I have a simple project. I have a ground with a collider and a player. So the only thing is, when I play and click on the screen, a bullet is created and it is destroyed after some time. So now here the bullets are created each time and then they are getting destroyed. So I have two scripts. One is bullet script. The bullet script is attached to the bullet, which decides the speed of its movement, its lifespan, and the current time is used to calculate for how long the bullet is active in the scene. And then we have a reference to the rigid body. So in awake we take reference to rigid body, we set current time to lifespan, and then in an on enable we set velocity transform right normalize into speed so that our bullet moves in the right direction. In update we reduce the current time, and once the current time is less than or equal to 0 we destroy the game object. And then we have a shoot script. Now the shoot script is attached to the player. So the shoot script has reference to bullet spawn pose, the position at which the bullet will be spawned. Then the gunfire rate decides the time gap between the two bullets. And then we have a bullet prefab. This bullet prefab which is created every time we click the screen. And then we have a gun cooldown timer which calculates the time so for creating the new bullet. Then we have reference to the animator. So we set gun cooldown time to 0 so that as soon as we click the screen we want the player to shoot. We get reference to animator. In update we reduce the gun cooldown with time, and then if we have pressed mouse button, that is the left mouse button, and gun cooldown is less than or equal to 0, we call shoot method. Now in shoot method the gun cooldown is reset to the gunfire rate, and then a shoot trigger is called. A bullet object is created at bullet spawn position and bullet prefab is spawned in that. So this is the game right now, and it is not optimized at all because each time the bullet is created and destroyed. So we want to optimize it, so we are going to create object pooling script. So just right click, create, and create a script and call object pooling. Now create a empty game object, rename it to object pooling, and resets it transform, and just drag the object pooling script to the inspector here. Now just double click on object pooling and it will open in Mono Behavior or Visual Studio, whichever the coding software you are using. So first we will make it an instance, and instance helps the script to be called from other scripts without providing any reference. So just public static object pooling instance. Now we are using static, which states that only one object pooling can be available in the scene and not more than that. Now we will create an awake method. And in awake method we will say if instance is equal to null, that means if there is no instance of object pooling, then we can say this is the instance is equal to this. Now let's create a new class, public class object pool items, and now in this class we will store the details of object. Let's serialize it so that we can see it in inspector. System dot serializable, and the first thing we need is a string, public string name. The next is public game object to pool, public int amount to pool. So this will set the name of the objects, and here we will give the reference to the prefabs, and here we will decide how many of them should be created. Now let's create a list. So public list game object pooled objects. So in this list we will store all our objects and create an array, public object pooling item, object prefabs. Here we will store the data of all the objects we want to pool. So now let's go to the start method. So at start we want our pool objects array to be empty, so we set it to new list. Then now we will loop through each pool object items in this array, and we will create the number of pool objects. So we will use for each and double tap. Now the variable will be object pool items in item, and it is stored in this array which is object prefabs. So then we will call a for loop, and now we want to loop for amount to pool times. So we will just say item dot amount to pool, and here we will create a new game object variable, called it ob object, which is equal to game object instantiate item dot object to pool. We will set it name, object dot name is equal to item dot name. Set its transform, object transform dot parent is equal to this dot transform. So we want to make all the objects which we instantiate child of this object pooling game object. Then we will deactivate the objects, object dot set active false, and then we will add the object to the list, our pool object list, pool objects dot add object. Okay, then we don't need the update method here. We will create a new method, public game object spawn pool object, and this method will be called by other scripts to get reference to the pool object, and we will provide a string variable here because we are going to have multiple objects in the list, and to get the specific type of object, let's say here we are going to get bullets, we are going to assign the string like bullet name, and then we will get that specific object. So Now we will call for, and we'll loop through all the pool objects, and then we will check if pool objects I dot active in hierarchy. So here we are checking that if the if the pool object is not active in hierarchy, that is it's deactive, and pool objects I dot name is equal to ob object name. So here we are checking that if the object name is equal to the required object name which we pass here, then we return pool object I. So what we are doing here is, first we check that the object is not active in the hierarchy, and second we check that its name is same as the name which we have provided here, and then if both of these conditions are true, then we return that object. Now till here we are just returning the objects which are deactive and have the same name, but in case all the objects which we want are active and we want more of them, so what we will do is we will create more and then add them to the list. So just copy this code here and paste it here, and now we are going to loop through, and instead of for we are going to check if item dot object to pool dot name is equal to object name, then we will instantiate the new object, give it the name, then we will set its parent, we will deactivate it, and then we will add it to the list, and then we will here we return null. So now if we go back to our editor and let it compile, we go to object pool. Now let's say object prefab, we will have only one, and it is bullet, and object to pool, let's drag it here, and amount to pool is 2. Now it is, you can just create as many objects here and just give a name, let's say bullet dual bullet or multi bullet or some whatever you want, and you can just drag the respective prefabs. So now we will go to the shoot script, and instead of instantiating a new bullet prefab, we will just call object pooling dot instance, and then we will call get spawn pool object method, and we will specify the object name. Here it is bullet. Now remember, this name has to be same to the list name here, so it is here bullet, it has to be same so that we can get the respective object, and then we'll just set bullet object dot transform dot position is equal to bullet spawn pose dot position. Then we'll just activate the bullet object dot set active is equal to true, and we will then go to the bullet script here, and instead of destroying it, what we'll do is we will just deactivate the game object. So game object dot set active false, and just deactivate game object, and here before deactivating it we will reset our current time to our lifespan. So now and here we don't need a bullet prefab anymore because we are not going to use it. Now if we go back to the editor and let's play, you will see there are two childs bullet name and they are deactive, and if I click on the screen you can see we are getting the bullet object. So we have an error here, so let's see it. Okay guys, so the issue here was we didn't return the object here when we created a new one. So here you just have to write return object. Okay, and now let's try it. If I click on play and press the key, okay, so now you can see we are not creating any more bullets and we are just reusing the ones we are having. So guys, this way you can use object pooling to reuse the objects which are used repeatedly in the game, which will save lot of your memory and help to boost the performance of your game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something new. So thank you guys, and I will see you in the next video.